Hey guys, I had a lady reach out to me a couple weeks ago, well, it's probably been a couple months ago now, towards the beginning of summer, and she was doing an article for a magazine and just wanted to ask me a few questions. She had come across our YouTube channel here and I was humbled. I said, sure, I'll certainly answer those questions. I'm not going to mention the magazine name, but I will say that it's a pretty big magazine, a magazine that I had at least heard of before. Maybe not one of the biggest and best, but definitely in the top 20 or 50 magazines in America, if you still read magazines. A lot of folks just go on websites and such. But anyway, this lady had reached out to me. She wanted some HVAC tips for an article she was working on and basically talking about things like how you can save money while still keeping your home cool and so on. So some of her questions, I don't know if she did or did not like my answers. I tried to be informative and give her some info that maybe the average bear wouldn't give or something that might actually help some folks that read her magazine. But what's interesting is my wife actually came across the article they ended up doing and it was written by someone totally different. So it ended up not being this lady that we thought was going to write the article. And I have to pick on the article because they didn't use any of my information, which is fine. This is not me being upset that they didn't use any of my information. That I'm so upset about that. But what I thought was interesting was that the article is called 5 Tips to Beat the Heat and Save Money on Air Conditioning Bills All Summer Long. A different lady here wrote this article and I'm going to go through her 5 tips. Stick around. I'm going to go through these 5 tips. I think it's interesting. First of all, some of their tips are just goofy to me. I'm just going to be completely honest and blunt about it and tell you that these tips are goofy. If this is the information they were wanting from me, it's pretty comical. I'm going to give you even more feedback on why I think a few of them are just simply wrong, just entirely wrong, that they're not just goofy, but they are wrong. So let's go through their 5 tips real quick. 5 tips to beat the heat and still stay cool all summer long. The average American household will spend $500 on electricity this summer. Luckily, we have easy tricks for how to save money on AC that'll keep you comfy and slash your bills in half. That's how it starts out. Tip number 1, create a frosty breeze with salty ice cubes. While a window unit costs about $40 to run each month, a fan only costs $5 per month. To boost its chill factor, fill a bowl with ice cubes, sprinkle them with salt, and place a bowl in front of the fan, says an HVAC expert. I'm not going to mention his name. Quote, the salt lowers the freezing point of ice from 32 degrees Fahrenheit to 20 degrees, so as the cubes melt, extra cold water vapor will be released into the air, cooling you right off. We'll come back to that. Number 2, lock in cool air by sealing sneaky leaks. We can save 15% on cooling costs simply by filling the gaps around windows and doors. Studies show it's easy to block drafts with caulk or spray foam, assures another heating and air expert. To pinpoint energy leaks, walk around windows and doors holding a lit candle. If you notice the flames start to flicker, you've sleuthed out a draft and just fill it up and start saving bit. Number 3, boost your AC's efficiency by opening these vents. This is going to be one of the ones we're going to come back to. Your air conditioner doesn't cool the air, it also removes humidity. Give it a helping hand by turning on vents in your kitchen above the stove and bathroom. These vents pump humid air into the attic or outside, helping your AC work much less hard, says HVAC expert blah blah blah. The easy trick can decrease your monthly bill by 20%. We're definitely coming back to that one. That's probably the goofiest one. Next, block the sun with window film. You'll reduce energy consumption by 30% by installing window film found easily in your home improvement stores, which blocks hot UV rays. Place the film over your windows using a clean adhesive and it'll stay put until you're ready to remove it. That one I'm fine with, to be honest with you. So the 4th one is probably the most helpful one. I actually agree with that one. By installing some of these films, what you're doing is you're keeping a lot of the greenhouse effect, how a greenhouse lets the sunlight in, it warms up the space, but then it traps that heat inside. That's how a lot of greenhouses, if you have a little garden or such, they'll have those windows or plastic or however it is they trap that. And then finally, the 5th one says lower indoor temperature with a simple light switch. Not only do LEDs last much longer than incandescent bulbs, they also use up to 90% less energy and produce significantly less heat. Even if switching out traditional bulbs for a few LEDs only results in a 1 degree temperature change in your home, that adds up to a $30 savings over the course of the summer. Again, that's actually not a bad tip. I do use LEDs a lot in my home, and incandescent bulbs do create heat. It's something to take into effect, especially if you have a lot of lights in your home. Now, if you're just the kind of person that when you're home, you only have one lamp on, or at most 3 or 4, maybe you wouldn't see a huge dramatic savings there. But if you have a larger home with a lot of lights and you're using LED bulbs versus incandescent bulbs, well, boom, there you go. That might actually help. Now that we've talked about the 4th and 5th one and how they're actually good tips, let's go back to the first 3. The first one with the salty ice cubes, I'll just say it's just a little goofy. I'm not saying that it doesn't work. In fact, years ago, we used to call it affectionately, it wasn't an actual swamp cooler in the sense that some homes actually legit have a swamp cooler, but it's sort of a redneck swamp cooler where I cut a hole in the cooler itself, put a bag of ice down in there, and then have a fan blow in one hole and then have a pipe blow out the cool air to the other. And the reason we did that was we were working in a lot of hot attics at the time, and that allowed us to be able to keep our guys somewhat cool while they're working in those hot attics. But unlike an air conditioner that my guys will usually use now, so they'll just take a portable AC and set it up now instead of having the cooler and all of that. Unlike an AC that will remove that humidity, these coolers, they're just blowing air across that ice, and it's not removing any humidity. The second one, I don't think it's not a horrible idea to seal up gaps and leaks and such. I think that the candle is a little different, a little goofy. I mean, if it works, it works. What we used to do when I worked for a company years ago that we would do some of these energy saving ideas is one thing that's good, especially like a door, for example. You close that door and you take someone with a flashlight or the sun, if you got sun on the other side of that door, and you can see sunlight coming in certain spots, or your flashlight, you can shine it around. And if you see light come through there, well, guess what? Air's coming through there as well. So you want to fill that gap and stop that hot air from being able to come into your home while you're trying to keep it cool. Now, finally, the goofiest one, as I said a minute ago, is this third one. And again, it's talking about turning on the vents in your kitchen and bathrooms. I'm guessing it's talking about your exhaust fans, how your bathroom will have the little exhaust fan there that you would turn on if you use the restroom or are using the shower, that will remove that humidity or odors. And then your kitchen, you'll have your kitchen hood or some sort of exhaust that will remove, if you're cooking or something like that, being able to remove that heat. Now, if you're cooking, I got it. I'm with you. If you are cooking and you turn that on, that will remove that heat from that space, making your air conditioner not have to work so hard. However, that's not what this says. This says that it helps remove the humidity. And I just got to tell you right from the get-go, those fans do not remove humidity. All they are is a simple little fan that might remove anywhere from 50 to, some of them can remove a couple hundred CFMs, but it's just a fan that pumps that air out of the home, but it is not somehow magically separating the humidity from the air like a dehumidifier would. In fact, it's not even separating the cool air from the warm air. So warm air does rise, so I could see a higher room in the home and you turn on the exhaust fan in that bathroom, pulling out that hot air that's raising from the bottom floor maybe. Other than that, I'm not sure how you would constitute turning on all of these fans. And to be honest with you, some of these fans, they draw a few amps. So they're talking about if you have 3 bathrooms in your house and you're turning on this exhaust fan in your kitchen, you're drawing, especially if you leave them running all the time, you're sitting there drawing a constant 10 to 20 amps on top of your air conditioning that you're trying to use to cool your home. So now you've turned on these fans, they're drawing energy. You've got your air conditioner trying to pump cool air into the home, or remove heat is technically what it does. But you've got a fan that's blowing cool air through the vents, right? And then you got these fans that are also drawing energy, pulling that air out of the home. I just don't understand their reasoning for that. And maybe they just misspoke. Maybe what the guy was trying to say, the person that wrote this article just didn't hear him right. But again, his quote says, quote, "These vents pump humid air into your attic or outside, helping your AC work much less hard." So the only time that I can think that, again, if you're taking a shower, there's going to be humidity in the air and it's good to turn on that bathroom exhaust fan to get that out of there. Does that help with the humidity in your home? Sure. But it also helps with things like mold growing in your bathroom. If you never had those fans and you're just constantly taking showers, I've seen some bathrooms where they have a little bit of black or mold growth starting to grow on the ceiling there, especially bathrooms that don't have an exhaust exhaust fan at all. And then, as we said a moment ago, if you're cooking, getting that hood to remove that heat from the space because you're cooking. So anyway, again, I just thought it was a little goofy. They didn't choose me or any of my information. I talked a lot more about some of the products on the market that we've talked about in some of my videos that help ACs run better and more efficient. And I also talked about how important it is to do maintenance to your system, to have a pro check the refrigerant and keep it working in top working order, cleaning the coils and such. Again, they didn't choose any of my tips. That's fine, but I just think it's funny the ones that they did choose here. So let me know your thoughts. Do you know any energy saving tips? What do you think of their tips they gave here? Comment down below. I'd love to hear that. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.